All right. Yes, it's still looking at the Museo building.
I do not see a live signal yet.
Oh, it's not come up for you yet.
Not
Maybe,
yet.
maybe it takes a few minutes. So I'm just gonna.
It seemed like I've had almost a full minute lag time. Oh, it's popped up.
Get it? And we're early, so they're just getting background for the moment. Hi, I'm Greg Nutt. Welcome to the American Landscape in conjunction with the Museum of Make Believe event at the Museo in Anaheim. It's basically a Victorian Christmas. We're going to see some live entertainment in a little while, but before that, we've got a chance to get a little private viewing of Museo's. It's not the Polar Express, but the Train Express or the Muzeo Express, where they've got some great miniature train layout. So we're going to go see that in a second. We're going to let a few people, let's say, get on board the stream. And if you've never been to the Museo before or watched one of the other live streams, it's a really nice area, downtown Anaheim. Literally, and people overuse that word a lot, but literally right across the street is City Hall, and the Carnegie Library, which is one of the few, if not the only Carnegie Library building left in the United States, is also here. That's where the Museo is kind of based out of. And yeah, that's kind of the history behind that. And they've got a nice little, as I'm kind of stepping around here and setting you up for today's event, a little veterans memorial right here, which veterans like me appreciate it. See, we're outside close to the road. There's the veteran memorial right there. This area is nice. It's got a lot of nice apartments, nice walking district with nice landscaping. There's Richard in the background. He is the cameraman normally on, excuse me, on the American Landscape travel TV show. So today he's helping me out watching the live stream, and we may even have a couple contest winners. We'll see how that goes with the live stream and how that works out. So again, that's the Carnegie building right there behind us that Richard's sitting in front of, and then there is the Museo building right there. So, Richard, you ready to go in and see some trains? All right. Couldn't see you doing that, but if you could grab that little tripod, and we're going to go in there. And you may actually see Richard on camera for probably well, now he's in the background because he's behind me. First time ever. He's usually behind the camera, doesn't get to speak much, but we may allow him to speak today. So I'm going to turn the camera around. Let's hold on a second so you can see what I'm seeing. All right, so here's the lobby to the Museo. Muzeo Express is what it is. And so let's look in the window here first. Nice, small little display. Amtrak trains, or train, I should say. Very nice. So this is what you'll see if you come to the Museo, and I'm going to come up here to the front desk, and someone who probably wasn't expecting to be on camera is going to be asked the question.
Sure.
How long is the Muzeo Express going to be on display, and how much does it cost?
I believe it's going on until January 18th or 19th.
Okay.
And the cost is $10 for adults and $7 for children.
Great. And then I saw these passes where you can come back more than once.
Yeah.
And so is that an additional cost?
Yes, they are. So we have the Starlight Pass, which is free admission for 2 adults to come back anytime they want during the exhibition, and the Zephyr, which is for a family of 5. And so the first one is $40 and the second one is $65.
Very nice. Very nice. And then you have a gift shop that this gift shop's changes its, let's say, arrangement based on the time of year and the shows that are going on and everything. Is that right?
Yeah, so a lot of this is from local artists, artisans, and we do such amount almost like every season. Yeah.
Great. And the Museum of Make Believe, they have some stuff here too?
Yes, they do. They have some coasters.
Let's come around here.
Bookmarks, stickers.
I thought I saw their
music
box. Yeah, this is so intricate and you know, just to the level Jeff does all the time. That little music box is very cool. Oh, some train whistles. You know, time of COVID, we can't just pick them up and blow them like we used to, right? I'm sure the kids probably still want to do that. Cider, all kinds of fun stuff in here. All right. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to go on and show them the trains.
Sure.
All right. So here we go. We're going to go straight in. You see this Museo, I keep saying that wrong, Muzeo Express. Got a nice little entry here. And we're going to go through this way. That looks like what's drawing us in. I know they're preparing for the show that we'll show you later at the Museum of Make Believe in the Victorian Christmas. We've got some great performers that are going to be there, some skits, and a Dickens, I guess you could say, impressionist or reenactor. And he'll be telling a story too. That'll be a lot of fun. Wow. Look at this. This is amazing. How about that? Look at that. Too bad they're not running right now, but I think that's because we're here before it opens. Oh, look at this one. Now, this one should have some connection for those Disney fans out here, and our cameraman, who's got a Disney connection himself. Look at this, Radiator Springs. Where is Richard? I'm going to let Richard comment on this. Look at the, where is he? Where'd he go? Get around here. I'm going to let you comment on this one. Does this remind you of any place you've been lately?
It looks vaguely familiar, but the thing that's catching my eye, this is the 027 gauge. This is the same gauge of a train set that I still have to this day.
The old Lionel, right?
Pardon?
The Lionel train.
The Lionel trains, exactly.
Yeah. I had my grandmother had one for us as kids, and at some point she got rid of it. It's really too bad. You know what I like about these? You'll agree with me, I'm sure. When these run, there's a certain electricity smell or something.
Oh yeah, you know. You definitely smell that. And on a lot of these, I'm looking at this, it doesn't look like it has, or it might be, but they had smoke that came out of the engines themselves. As you can go through a little bit, you dropped it, a couple drops of oil, and
now I'm not sure about the UFO back in the corner, but short of that, this is a nice little reproduction of Radiator Springs.
They got cows with the UFOs
yes,
too.
one's being lifted up at the bottom.
Of course.
Let's go take a closer look at that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I currently still have HO and N scale. They're not set up right at the moment. Now I see a button here or something that says wave hand. Oh, there we go. Look at that.
The UFO logo.
Oh, I didn't know. I noticed the go-kart track, but I didn't notice the cars would go on it. Look at this. This is fantastic. Look. Yeah, but you know, some of the stuff looks like they're kits. Or maybe I'm not aware that this is available commercially. I'm not sure, but this is really cool. Then I think I can wave my hand. Well, wait, we want to get the UFO. Did you see? There's a little guy sitting in the top. That's so cool.
The cow's going up and down underneath it.
Oh yeah, this is great. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. I'm gonna wave my hand there. I just, so everybody sees what I'm playing with. There was this little like button there that said wave hand. And that is really cool. I wonder if I missed, no, I don't see that one. Oh, there it is, on the other side of the fence. There was one there too. Wow, that is really cool. All right, so far that's my favorite. Even though it's semi-modern, if you will. There's a little movie running about trains. Oh wow, look how big this one is. I gotta say that one thing about this size of train, both G scale and I'm not sure what scale. Do you remember if the Lionel considered themselves to have a scale?
Well, they were always referred to as O scale or O27 scale.
O scale, that's right. And then the big ones, the G scale, which is the
LNG.
yeah, like there was a brand for a while. It was like the big one of the day, and now everybody's got copies of it. But wow, look at this one. All right, see another wave hand thing, so I'm gonna wave my hand. All right. I love the streetcars. I have a streetcar in mine. Look at that, it's very cool. Oh, here comes one. Diesel electric, it looks like, going by there. Look at that. How fun is that? There goes a streetcar, right? He's staying on this pretty small loop.
Oh,
That's true, yeah, he can't go anywhere. Look at these, the little diner. Oh, Lionel built. Oh, let's get a shot of that. That is really cool. Look at that. This is really cool. Oh, look at there's kids. These little ones are moving too. You can see the kids playing tug of war. You see that?
Yeah.
And then they're swinging there. That's really cool. And it's not a perfect world. We've got the repair truck out there working on the sign. And we've got some ice skaters down here. That is really cool. Nice big train station there too. This really makes me want to clear my garage out and start mine again. A lot of detail. Love this stuff. Alright. See a lot of wild animals in this one. I see some wolves over here running around. Alright, let's see what we got here. This one is called the Polar Express. I see the hand car going around in circles up there on that trellis. We got them going in opposite directions. A lot of great sight lines as the trains pass each other. And they got one of those signs too. I thought maybe it was changed, but it hasn't changed yet. On the corner of my eye, I see the huge one. We'll see here in a few minutes.
You'll just see the movie, you'll see the conductor, Tom Hanks, sitting right here on the front of the Polar Express.
Oh, there he is, yeah. That's not one of my favorite movies. I've seen it. But we should say nice things about it. The animation is pretty cool.
I had fun with it. I still like it, yeah.
You know, I also thought at home, some films just need to be seen in the theater and may not have represented itself very well on the small screen at home. All right. Oh, we got some aircraft that you should like here. Richard is a certified private pilot. I don't know if you call it private pilot. What,
Yeah,
general
pilot.
General aviation?
General aviation, private pilot, that's it.
All right, let's see what gets going here. Wow. Now,
Oh,
these are bigger.
larger
Yeah,
scale,
yeah. Notice the difference of the sound.
Yeah.
Look at that. Back up a little bit, get an overall shot of this. Very nice. Now, I'm kind of wondering how those planes get up and go. I ain't got much of a runway up there, but Well, I got to say, I watched some videos the other day of those bush planes. I'm not sure what the technical term for them is, but they have contests on how short they can land and how quickly they can take off. The ones that are going to be over like big blowing, big tires on them, you know. Yeah. Oh, look at this little back street you couldn't see from the front. Here it comes. There's a seaplane there. Got the racing plane. Very nice. See if we can get a shot of this thing coming down right at us. There's the angle. Look at that. Cinematic greatness there. Look at that. All right. Here we go. Yeah. All right. Some people probably don't want to hear that commentary, but I think this is really cool. I'm going to do a big pan of the room so you kind of get an idea. If you've ever seen any of other Jeff's shows here at the Muzeo, done some Halloween stuff here a few times over. It's a big space. Museo's a nice space. You know, this really looks large, and it can feel sometimes a little smaller and more intimate when they put up extra walls for the art. But right now, it's very large. And I thought some of these would time out, but they are still going. Nope. And once that's coming to 1 o'clock, the other things first. All right, so we passed one. We'll go back and see it. But of course, I have my squirrel moments. I saw these watches here. These are railroad grade pocket watches. And for those who don't know, and I'll bring this up to Richard, because Richard's a little bit of a knowledge on everything kind of guy. Train, or we should say time, really didn't get to the point of the way we think about time.
Standardized time.
Standardized until the railroad.
Right.
Because of people missing their connection, you may see. I was going to say connecting flight, but connecting railroad. Let's say you got on a railroad, you went out to Pennsylvania Station and you needed to head over to New York, but when you got to Pennsylvania Station, your watch said it was 2. But the watch in the station said 2:15. This train had already left. So they had to standardize the time, which ended up happening in Greenwich.
Well, Greenwich was always the clock for the world.
Let's say the point zero,
right,
if you will. So that's how time got standardized in all the
time zones
around the world. So yeah,
right, exactly, because every town up until that point, they set their own watch and their own time and how it was going to be.
Yeah.
It would be funny if it was a 1-hour trip and you would leave at 3 and you got over to the next town at 3:30. So
and stuff like that did happen. And
quite a bit.
Yeah, when I saw that the first time, explained, and because we take it for granted, especially today with our phones and modern watches, setting the time for us. Remember in the day when we used an atomic clock to kind of get make sure everything was on the right time?
Yep.
Now you don't even need that kind of thing.
Your phone does that.
Yeah, your phone does that. All right, let's get back. The history lesson's over. What do we got over here? All right, we're out in the country here. So I see some farms. Another airport for you. The pilot loves to see his airports. Look at that. Not quite John Travolta's home with his plane sticking out of the side of his house. And if you've never seen that, you're interested in aviation, go do some searches. He's in Florida somewhere.
Not everybody gets to own their own Boeing 707.
Yeah. Yeah, there was something else like that too. 707 was one of them. Yeah, he is. But like I've seen some other famous people who are pilots and things like that, this content of things, you've got to keep your time up. You got to look at different skills over and over. Yeah. So yeah, don't think of him as just a spoiled guy with some money. Looks he might do, but he is also a qualified multi-engine retractable gear. Is that still counted something? So that's a lot of stuff to do. Now, right back there, is that Thomas Dickens? Where was that back there? That wasn't right. I think, Nice. I know who that's our Dickens person for later. And this one, look at this. It's got to be, what, 12 feet tall or so. Look, that is good. Let's see where we can turn this on. Well, is that it's a city council member of Anaheim there on the overpass. Yeah, these are the G scales too. LGB maybe? Look at this. I'm starting to feel like one of those commentators on TV at accidents where they really don't know what they're talking about.
Oh, you got HO scale over on the other side here, so you know a lot about
I know HO and N I know a lot about, but what I'm seeing here, and it's something I've always wanted to do, is a progression of scales.
Yeah.
You've got the larger scale, and then we get a little, and to give perspective of the change of height and distance, and there's even Santa way back there in the distance hanging up there. And here goes the big train. Let's do one of these shots where we, like the Olympics, you follow it. One of the coolest things I see in film work today. Oh, yeah, there's something going on here. Look at this emergency. Flashing red lights, helicopter. I'm more of a Coke guy, but there's Pepsi over there. Pepsi sign flashing. That's kind of cool. Uh-oh. Got a fire or something going on here at the emergency vehicles. It's convenient that the hospital is just around the corner.
Yeah.
Starbucks
over there. Starbucks on the left.
Awesome. Starbucks at the bottom of the tower. And then I even see right here on this bus, the Museum and Cultural Center. Oh, what's on the side of this big rig? That's kind of cool. He's got a little digital sign on the side of the big rig. All right. You know, I love this trailer. These are so popular today. This little streamlined trailer on that car. Oh, another fire truck going. Oh, there's one of the smaller ones now. We finally see that's an HO up at the top, I believe. Let's see who's coming. There he goes. It looks like we're getting close to the live show. I was wondering if there was going to be an in scale up at the top, but I don't think so. All right, here comes another one over the trestle. I've ridden one like that across the Missouri. That was fun. Lot to see out there on the big open rails and roads. Really, that can go together. So cool. What we got over here? The Flying Yankee. Very cool. I gotta say, I'm still most impressed by the Sacramento Train Museum. It's probably one of the best I've seen, or I should say, Railroad Museum. We don't want to be, calling it the wrong thing. Look at that. That is so cool. Alright, what's this one over here? So this one is a nice, like, Christmas setup around your Christmas tree. A lot of people do this. Very fun. There's a lot of Disney stuff going on here. You know, Disney is a good friend of the city. And the city is a pretty good friend of Disney also, I think. One last street over there, all the way to the top. You know, I gotta say, Richard, you might comment on that also. When I saw the commercials and the trailers and everything called Spark, Sparky, whatever, I wasn't heard how much for the movie, but I actually love that character. I ended up having to see the movie there, and I was impressed. Yeah, and that's just telling you to finish them. That's good. That one's fun. Let's see, one last one we haven't covered. And what's our time for the 7 minutes to the big show. Well, how did that guy do the big shoe?
That's Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan. Big shoe. Okay, we got one more here. Oh yeah. And we got a Thomas to train. Are these all Thomas? Now that I see Thomas, and I don't know the Thomas characters, so I know Thomas, but is there another train with a different name or engine? I should say engines. The train is the complete package. Engine is the driving force, right? Yeah, that's the blue one, right?
Right.
Okay.
And I'm at a loss on the other characters as well.
Yeah, look at us poor guys. That's nice. Nice roundhouse with the engines coming out of it. That is very cool. And I'm sure that operates. And a big theme of the trains has been airplanes. There's another airport out there.
We got executive jet up there too.
Yeah. Now he's not sitting on any wheels, so I'm not sure if he's had a crash landing or controlled landing.
Or maybe he just accidentally lifted the wheels up while he was sitting.
Actually,
It has happened.
I bet it has. And I'd love to see how that worked out. Or didn't. So yeah, if you have a chance and you're in Anaheim or nearby, this is fun. I believe kids, all kids love trains.
When does this display end?
I don't remember. It was in January.
In January.
She did tell us. I do remember the January portion. When I was first standing on this side looking up, I thought, is there going to be a homage to the Matterhorn there? But as we got around, didn't really follow through. But it is kind of a cool mountain. Just another mountain. Now, the geologists in our crowd would say there's not just another mountain. They are all individually unique and have great properties and all that. Lots of fun, though. I mean, you could find details in this for hours. Okay, being told we got 4 minutes to the show, the big show coming up. Let's see if we can find the thing to turn this one on that we missed the last time. We came by and we saw it, but we didn't get it turned on, so. What's it say? Wave hand. But nothing's happening. I waved my hand, but nothing's happening. You try. See if you.
It sees it, but it doesn't do it.
There it goes. Slice away. Now, I don't know. Have you seen the thing that's been shown now? You can now get a Magic Pass reader. I don't know. Magic. It's not called Magic for the walk. The wristband things you have to wear. You can get one that'll turn your Christmas tree on. So you wave your little thing and. Now, do they? I know they're popular at Disney World. Does Disneyland introduce the Magic, whatever that thing's called?
Not yet. They're responding very slow.
And we got, again, another plane pilot going on. There, and this one's got a nice sound. This one's got a choo-choo sound. I think I picked that up on the other one. Still have to maybe smoke.
No smoke.
Yeah, that might be a condition where we just don't want them all going and smoking the place up. But this one of the performers for later. Yay.
Happy holidays!
Did you see this one? It's Radiator Springs. And there's even a UFO picking up a towel in the back corner.
Look, it's Radiator Springs.
Visitors and performers for the show. Which one is which? Who is the performer?
And the
Take a guess.
performer.
No, I was letting the audience guess.
The cow's being abducted into their
All right, so that back there is where the Victorian Christmas is going to happen very soon. On my watch, 3 minutes. So we are getting close. Let's take a look at what we got going here. We got some, looks like donations and possible giveaways and that kind of thing going on. that. Jeff always does fine work. Look at that. That is very nice. The performers are staging up. They're getting ready. Got some guests coming along, getting ready for the show. Oh yeah, let's do a shot of that. So here's some stuff that's coming up. We got Night of the Polar Express, December 4th and 11th, Victorian holiday event. That's today, that's the one we're at. And silent film series, Great Train Robbery, our hospitality, and December 9th with 1 week, and the general. So that'll be fun. Ooh, look at that. Refreshments coming in. The staff here at the museum always does a fine job helping prepare and running these events. Richard's ducking how to get out of the way, but I won't let him. All right. It's a nice image there of the train. Christmas lights. So are you prepared for your Christmas? Do you have your tree up? Do you have your holiday lights in the house or Christmas lights?
We got a few things up, but we still got more things to do.
Yeah, we usually have cards up the day after Thanksgiving. The outside stuff was, some of the inside stuff is still getting worked on because I hate to say it, but we have four trees. Four trees. One tree that is primarily Star Trek related. I've got like over 35 years of a continuous series of Star Trek ornaments plus a new series. The other one now is kind of the sci-fi tree. It's got some Star Wars stuff, Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a hodgepodge of stuff like that. Then there's a holdover Halloween tree that has Nightmare Before Christmas, Halloween stuff, and Christmassy stuff in that venue. And then we have an old-fashioned tree that's got handmade ornaments. So yeah,
we got 3 trees.
Takes a long time.
We got 3 trees. I got the short little 3-footer that goes in my office. I got the 6-footer.
Is the office, is that next?
That's actually my work office.
Is that next to the restroom or
No.
out in the garage? Like my office?
Kind of. I got the 6-foot tree that goes out in the dining area. And then I got the 12-foot tree for the living room.
Nice. Yeah, I wish I had a higher ceiling. I put a much taller tree, but
yeah, when we got this house and we had the big ceiling, it's something I really look forward to having.
when I look at other houses now, I got specifics. I want a window where a tree can be seen from the front of the house. I want a window where I can do one of those projections where it looks like Santa or somebody's in your house.
Well, we had that projection, but then my daughter came back home from school and I wanted to do it. So I think the projection I put there.
Yeah, well, there's a fence out there too that kind of blocks it, doesn't it? Or it can't even be seen by the street. Good time? All right, it is time for the event, so we're waiting for everybody to get settled and situated. So we will be here to, I guess we should just stand right here. Where did we leave the tripod? making adjustments to the camera to put it on a tripod. Sorry about that. We're still waiting for some guests to arrive before we get started.
I noticed that too.
Yeah, what's the difference? Well, I mean, that's just why it's building. What our parents got to see with this one, we're now looking at the Oh, all right. We got a little tripod this time, so I could wear out my arms. Still making some adjustments to the camera. Oh, there we go. Sorry about that, but there we go. We're in pretty good shape now. But I want to make sure that it kicks the tripod, so we'll make some adjustments to that. Okay, we'll let you enjoy the view for a second. Everybody's getting ready. We're waiting for a few more guests to come in. Yes.
Just so you're comfortable. I think you're.
Next year's Christmas collaboration dropped off on Friday. Cute song called Merry Christmas. Not sure what I love more, actually.
Okay, so we have some more guests arriving now. We thought we'd give it to 1:15 for our official start time, so that's about 6 more minutes. They'll be coming in, they're meandering in now, and then we'll get started. I thought what we'd do is like us lunch. Well, I remembered, I'm like, oh, how will I know? Yeah, that's a good one. Good to see you. Come in, sit, relax, enjoy.
These are all items here that are either available out there. Those are all pictures taken away too. Oh yeah, they're for the whole book.
So I want you to say hello to my friends at Bolivia. They make their toys out of specialty nylon, rubber, and ballistic materials all throughout the USA. Here's how it works. You pick your plan, give the dogs walk, and the experts at Bolivia will ship your pups to your box the next day, then every 30 days thereafter. Extraction guaranteed. They replace it for free. Go to Bolivia.com/radio for 40% off today.
No, I'm gonna get the
You can catch your favorite moments when you look at the iPhone this holiday season, because all new and existing T-Mobile and Sprint customers get the iPhone 13 Pro and AirPods on us with eligible trade-in on our next plan. And you can get 1 free year of Apple TV Plus, because together we are all at T-Mobile.
And now, Smart Water presents Random Advice with Pete Davidson. Smart Water is perfectly pH balanced with Electrolux for taste and living at your mom's house gets weird at a certain point. And it's true. If you're not from Philly County, you shouldn't be there anymore. So, drink Smart Water. Go out and you can. Smart Water. Keep living smart. Market makes your holiday
So we're about to begin, so sit back and relax and enjoy the show.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah, two little elves have joined us. I'd like to say thanks for everybody who showed up today. I'm Kathy with the Museum of Make-Believe, and on behalf of our founders, Jeff and Amy Mitchell, we'd like to welcome you and thank you for sharing your imagination with us today. We are currently fundraising for our own physical space. Our focus is going to be on making you part of our dreams. So you get to come in and interact with things in our museum. We've been fundraising for about a year and a half. Some sort of pandemic is interrupting that. But we try to do outreach events. We've done several online events. Currently, we are streaming live with the American Landscape, and Greg Nutt is back there with Rich, figuring it all out for us so that everybody who's more remote can join in the joy as well. We have some lovely elves with us today, which I will introduce in just a moment, and we have a very special gentleman with us who is from days of yore. And he'll explain a little bit about Charles Dickens to us and his place and how we celebrate Christmas. So we do also have a trivia contest. We're going to be passing out sheets of paper. Please don't Google the answers. And our fine actor will be handing out prizes for those of you who actually win. So during the presentation, if you'll have a look at the questions and then answer the questions, we'll come collect those just before our fine actor comes up and has a talk. But I'll tell you a little bit more about him later. First off, I have a question for the crew. Does anybody know when steam trains were actually created? When they were invented, or where? I know, we didn't know there was going to be a test. Well, in 1804 in England, actually in South Wales, a gentleman created the first working steam train, which is kind of interesting, right? We're all here, we're enjoying the steam trains that are out there. But Charles Dickens was actually born 8 years after the invention of the steam train. And he very much plays into how we celebrate Christmas. Trains certainly are a big part of Christmas for most people. So we just thought this was a great event to bring everybody together. And also what the museum does is really focus on bringing your imagination into the world. And so we've done several joint events here at the museum, and we certainly appreciate their take, especially at Christmas time, where it's not a hoity-toity museum, it's actually someplace you can come and enjoy with your family every year, which is what the Museum of Make-Believe will be for everyone every day. So welcome and thank you. If you care to, we have a donation box in the back. You're more than welcome to contribute to our fundraising efforts. You purchasing a ticket here today has done that, and we certainly appreciate it. That also goes to the Muzeo, which is a fabulous institution in Anaheim, and we're very proud to be here. So, without further ado, we're going to move into the make-believe portion of our program. I'd like to introduce to you Karen Michelle Nutt, and also our little elf, Karen Michelle Nutt, and also, I'm going to get this right. I'm going to get it right. Here it is. Cecilia Corona. They're both local authors here. And also we have another one who might be joining them. Her name is Maggie Mosher, and they will present for you now The Spirit of Christmas.
What's going on? I can't find her anywhere.
Who can you find?
Well, the Spirit of Christmas.
The spirit of Christmas isn't a real spirit.
Are you sure? Because Santa Claus told me I can find her in the kitchen.
Oh. And did you? What did you find?
Well, I found Mrs. Claus baking her chocolate chip cookies, and I got to help her.
Chocolate chip, that's my favorite.
Mine also. But the Spirit of Christmas never showed. I asked Mrs. Claus where I could find her, and she said, "Go ask the other elves in the stables."
And what did you find there?
Well, I found the other elves cleaning up the reindeer stables, and I had a hope, waiting for the spirit of Christmas to show, and she never did. So I headed to the toy shop next.
Ooh, toys. Did you find her there?
Well, I found the other elves singing like jingle bells, and they were making toys, and they were wrapping presents, and I got the hope.
So much.
But no spirit of Christmas. I really, really want to find her.
But you know, you did find the spirit of Christmas in all those places.
I did?
You sure did. The spirit of Christmas is kindness and hope.
It's love and understanding.
You mean the spirit of Christmas is a feeling and sharing with others?
It sure is. Let's share the spirit of Christmas with everybody.
Let's make some hot chocolate and read some Christmas stories in front of the fire.
That would be so much fun. You know, I really like the spirit of Christmas.
We do too.
Let's go pick out our Christmas mug for that hot chocolate.
Oh yes, marshmallows in mine.
Whipped cream in mine, please.
I think I'm gonna have peppermint. Let's
Let's
go.
go.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Ha, ha, ha. Oh, what fun it is. Well, thank you very much. That was an original production just for us here today. So you have all gotten a sheet with some trivia questions. So if you would please take a few minutes, see what you know, what you don't know. We'll come collect those from you. I have more trivia questions myself. Does anybody know when the city of Anaheim was founded? 1857. So we benefit from very much, Charles Dickens was very much out, even in America at that point, right? And so what Charles Dickens was famous for, what he changed about literature, was that he wrote about poor people. He wrote about the real living conditions that people went through every day. And then he didn't keep his books in a library. He had them, or his stories in the library. He shared his stories in periodicals, in magazines. He ended up doing a lot of readings himself. So what he did was popularize literature for everyone. So we're really appreciative of that. We have just a few more minutes for the trivia question. We're going to bring up someone very special now who's very familiar with Charles Dickens. You might say Charles was his dad. It's my special privilege to introduce our very special guest today. His name is Septimus Hicks, and he appeared in Charles Dickens' first published book, so 1934, I believe, Sketches by Boz, which is the first story called The Boarding House. He was quite a rapscallion, I read that book. Septimus was a common Victorian name for the seventh son, or you know, Septimus, seventh, right? And he was tallish, thin, white-faced man with spectacles and a ribbon around his neck, a most interesting person, a poetical walker of the hospitals, and a very talented man. He just happens to be here today to tell about his inventor, his creator, if you will, one Charles Dickens, who wrote about Mr. Hicks in 1934 when Mr. Dickens was 22 years old. I present to you Mr. Septimus Hicks. Sorry, Septimus. Please put your names at the top of your sheets.
Oh, it's a fan.
Correct.
Kind of old and then get the light.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
I want to thank the Muzeo, the Museum of Make Believe. By Make Believe, I can be here from 1834, and I appeared in Dickens' first book, Sketches by Boz. And I was invented as a character, and I'm here as a character. So isn't Make Believe amazing? Imagination? But I'm here today to talk about Ebenezer. And I'm calling my little presentation the new Ebenezer. 178 years ago, Ebenezer Scrooge appeared on the stage of Charles Dickens' reign. And he has never left the world stage since. It goes from Bob Cratchit, Nephew Fred, of course Tiny Tim, and all the ghosts you would need to meet in the life of the world to come. That's right. Over a century and a half ago, and their stories go right on here in Orange County, California. By the way, I thank Kathy for the fine introduction. I couldn't have written it better myself. But my name is Septimus Hicks, and I'm from Orange County. Oh, Orange County, Virginia. Home of James Madison, the 4th president, and a very fine actor, an old actor named Randolph Scott. I believe there are a lot of old actors around this part of the world too, aren't there? Well, thanks everyone for coming. Thank everyone for being interested in Christmas and for the skit about the spirit of Christmas, because that is what Charles Dickens was all about. Well, I was saying, Ebenezer Scrooge just keeps on going. Since the original 6,000 copies, financed by the author himself, A Christmas Carol has never, ever been out of print. You can always buy it no matter what year you've lived since 1843. Written in his head, as Dickens, he wanted the streets of London 10 or 20 miles a day. He created all of these wonderful characters in the story in a 6-week period. He wrote it and he published it. He paid for it because his publishers, Chapman and Hall, said, nobody wants to hear about Christmas. At that time, Christmas was not a holiday. You had to work on Christmas. Christmas had gone down the tubes, particularly in America as well, because of the Puritan influence, believing that Christmas was only pagan. And so he wrote a story and people loved it and bought it by the droves, and what do you know? It's still here. Now, I bet my bottom dollar that you could see A Christmas Carol this Christmas. There have been over 100 movies made of A Christmas Carol. The kids here, Mr. Magoo, the Muppets, Bugs Bunny, and even some character named Mickey Mouse had his own A Christmas Carol movie. Wouldn't it look kind of neat to see all those omnipresent ears on Ebenezer Scrooge? Well, the story begins this way, and you know it. Marley was dead to begin with. The register of his burial was signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker, and the chief mourner. Scrooge signed it, and Scrooge's name was good upon anything he chose to put his hand to. It is Christmas Eve, 7 years exactly from Marley's death. And again, you know the story, right? You've all seen it, you've all read it. But a reminder, after dragging around this long chain of cash boxes, keys, padlocks, ledgers, deeds, and heavy purses wrought in steel, Marley has finally made his way to the old house that he and his partner lived in for many years. He had come to warn Mr. Scrooge, the squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching this covetous old sinner, that he needed to change. And that is the central question of the story of A Christmas Carol. Can a person really change? Can a person named Ebenezer, by the way, in the Hebrew language where the name comes from, it means rock. Can a person named Rock change and soften to become a man of compassion? Can he become a compassionate human being? Because it does not seem like a human being at all. Or will he continue in his old ways of seeing the death of a person as a decrease in the surplus population? Does it always have to be a man who says to anything nice and good, bah, humbug? What would it take to change him? Maybe ghost? Maybe seeing his life in perspective now that he's about 60 years old? Maybe seeing his name on an old, overgrown tombstone? Would that change him? Maybe. Let me tell you a quick story. Yesterday, at 48 Downing Street in London, at the house where Dickens lived when he wrote Oliver Twist, for example, the Dickens family gathered yesterday, and they read out loud to people who came to visit A Christmas Carol. There were great-grandchildren there reading. There was even a great-grandchild there who couldn't read. That was just yesterday. Well, I'm here, so I was not invited. Well, my surname is not Dickens. My surname is Hicks. But I was one of the first Dickens characters to appear in print in the 1834 story of The Boarding House. Yet, even that recognition did not get me into the famous museum, or on the wall in the museum, there's a painting of Charles Dickens sitting behind the desk. And above his head in smoke, there are characters that he dreamed up. Over 100 characters. He created over 1,500. There's a David Copperfield, a Pip from Great Expectations. Sarah Gant, one of my favorite, the great writer Will Faulkner said she's the best character ever created in literature. Mr. Micawber, he always said something would come up. He was always poor. Amy Dorrit, called Little Dorrit. Uriah Heep, the evil man who took over another man's life. Edwin Drood, the last character that Dickens created. He was writing the book about Edwin Drood. He died at his death of a stroke and didn't finish it. James Steelforth, Sam Weller, Jenny Wren. The Beatles knew about her. Florence Dombey, Barnaby Rudge, and his Raven Grip. By the way, you remember some famous Raven poem? Well, he visited Charles Dickens, and he met Dickens' Raven called Grip, and he got fascinated with it. And so he wrote the poem, The Raven, when he came back home. Fascinating story. Well, in later years, Charles Dickens began to do dramatic readings for charity, with many of his characters taking center stage in his readings. He raised money for 43 charities by reading. The public would flock to hear him read his stories, as many as 2,000 or 3,000 at a time. He raised money for sick children. He raised money for what is called Urania Cottage for fallen women. They were for street women. He even helped found that himself. He helped the fund of the Poor Man's Guardian Society and many others, because at his heart, he cared about those who were poor, those who were needy. And that's why we have A Christmas Carol. Of all his public readings, there were many the favorite was A Christmas Carol. And I would advise you, if you have a copy someplace or go to the library, read this Christmas season, and even read it to your children. And I think you would love to hear it being read again. Well, on December 3rd, 1867, his first reading in a tour of America was A Christmas Carol in Boston, at the famous Parker House Hotel he stayed. And at that hotel, they had armed guards to protect him from his fans. It was kind of like Beatlemania in the 1960s. It was so famous. You see, the Christmas holiday, even in Boston, had been on the back burner for many centuries due to the Puritan influence that had been actually outlawed any Christmas celebrations. But now, due to Catholic immigrants coming from Ireland and Italy, bringing some celebrations with them, Boston began to celebrate Christmas again and to enjoy the Christmas spirit. And so he came to read, and he was a rock star. Despite a bad cold, he read for 90 minutes the Scrooge story. It brought people to tears and even swoons. Back to the Beatles, Beatlemania. Well, maybe the Beatle category does fit because a Christmas Carol's name implies music. Carols ought to be sung. But remember in Christmas Carol, the first stave at the door, there comes a caroler who's singing, "Rest ye merry gentlemen, let nothing you dismay." And as he sang, "O Ebenezer," I quote, "sees the ruler with such an energy of action that the singer fled in terror. Grumpy old Ebenezer. Bah! Humbug!" Well, the story of A Christmas Carol is divided into staves. And a stave refers to the music staff. So again, it's a song. Earlier in his life, Ebenezer liked peppy music. In one of the best scenes of the book, old Fezziwig. Fezziwig was the opposite of the later Ebenezer. He was a great employer. He was happy. He cared for his workers. He cared for the poor. He cared for his people. And he wanted to have a Christmas party for his staff. So old Fezziwig had a party, and he and his wife led 20 couples in a rousing rendition of the English dance called the Sir Roger de Coverley. If you use your imagination, you can close your eyes and you can see the young man named Ebenezer whirling about with the young lady, merrily running about like a little fox, having such great fun. So we had a little trivia contest.
Yes, Septimus, we do have the winners here.
We have the winners.
We have 5 ties for second place and 1 first place winner.
Okay. So the first place winner is Amy Riley, is that right? Amy. I have for you Samuel Adams' Old Fezziwig Brown Ale. Old Fezziwig, by the way, goes back again to the Boston connection, wherein Dickens came to read, took Boston by storm. Years ago in Boston, Kathy mentioned this, Dickens' early novels were all written in serial form. So people couldn't wait to get the next story. And in Boston Harbor, when he was writing The Old Curiosity Shop, a little girl named Nell Trent perhaps was dying. And they would come to the harbor and they'd be yelling at the boat, "Did little Nell die? Did little Nell die?" They loved him so much and loved his stories. So later on, Samuel Adams, for the holiday season, began making Fezziwig Brown Ale. So that's a keepsake bottle too. Now let me get the 5 ties. So how did we handle that one? Kathy, help me. So how do we do the ties?
Well, we wrestle.
Oh,
That's old
that's a
school,
who
isn't it?
won.
Everyone who got second place will get one of these.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So second place, we get a nice piece of make-believe. Sure. Sure. So first we have
Ken.
Ken. Is Ken here?
Ken. There's a whole story behind this. You can go on our website and see that.
John F.
John F. Yay, John F.
Monica.
Monica, congratulations.
Jill.
Oh, cheated off of Monica. Yeah.
Annie.
Annie. Annie.
It's Annie, right?
It does. Is Annie here? Annie, are you too shy? Okay. Well, we'll find Annie at another time.
So how many of you have read A Christmas Carol? The book? How many of you have seen a movie of it? Do you have any favorite movies of it that you could share? George C. Scott. It's a wonderful movie.
The Muppets.
The Muppets. And in the Muppets, who was Scrooge? Michael Caine. And Kermie was, I think, Bob Cratchit. Anybody have you ever seen the 1951 movie starring Alistair Sim? I highly recommend that one. It's the greatest movie ever made of Christmas Carol. Now, I have a third cousin twice removed named Seymour Hicks, who made one in 1935. There's also some made that go way off the charts, like talking about, what is this now that's so popular, the zombies, the Christmas Carol zombie movie as well. So I really do highly recommend that you look up one of these movies. By the way, there's just been a new opera. It's called The Passion of the Christ, if you're an opera fan. The Passion of the Christ. The Passion of the Scrooge by John Deek, used to be in the New York Philharmonic. Just made that one as well. There are many musicals of it as well. There's one done by the Royal Shakespeare Company as well. So this story does get around. Isn't it amazing? All the 178 years, never out of print, and it keeps going and going and going. So let me just finish up what I'm going to say about it. And I thank you all for participating in the trivia contest. Did anybody get 100? Anybody get them all right?
You did.
Oh, I did, okay. You see, but I was created by Charles Dickens.
Correct.
I should have known all that stuff. But, as you know, here's the part I want to really get to in my little talk with you. old Ebenezer had really changed from the dancing Ebenezer. He danced, he was happy, he loved life, but he changed. As a matter of fact, he even had a fiancée named Belle. But in his quest for money, he was turning to a greedy monster of a man, and she broke off the engagement. She said this in the book: "Another idol has displaced me, a golden one. I have seen your noble aspirations fall off one by one until the master passion, greed and gain, they engross you." And then the Ghost of Christmas Past, remember that whole scene, shows Ebenezer what he missed out on by not marrying Belle. Now she's happily married with a house full of children, and old Ebenezer lives all alone and lonely. Talk about salt to the wound. So this carol that he wrote is about singing, and his music goes on and on. But what would have happened to this song of a story if Dickens had gone with the original plan? You know what the original plan was? Listen, he was going to write a pamphlet entitled "An Appeal to the People of England on behalf of the poor man's child." Well, after about a week of planning, he decided, wait a minute, I need to write a story, because stories grab people. That's what make-believe is all about. Storytelling, learning from imagining things that you cannot imagine otherwise. And so he created this character named Ebenezer Scrooge. So what might have been a polemic to a harangue instead became a story for which we all hungered. And obviously, never out of print, 178 years, I guess we've liked it. And so we see a boy and a girl in this story. Instead of a pamphlet, a boy and a girl, quote, yellow, meager, ragged, scowling, wolfish, but prostrate too in their humility. Where graceful youth should have filled their features out and touched them with his freshest tints, a stale and shriveled hand, like that of old age, had pinched and twisted them and pulled them into shreds. These little children appeared in the fold of the ghost garment. So he asked the Ghost of Christmas Present, "Spirit, are they yours?" Scrooge could say no more, for the Spirit answered, "They are mankind's, and they cling to me, appealing from their fathers. The boy is ignorance, the girl is want." Want meaning poverty and poor. So in story form, in a song form, as only Dickens could do, he has fascinated generations with the Christmas story of change and redemption. The old Ebenezer does change into a new Ebenezer. The old rock does soften into compassion. The hater becomes a lover. The scorner becomes a helper. The cynic a singer. Why else would he go to church, it says in State 5, but to sing carols on Christmas Day? Old tight-fisted Mr. Generosity now. A lone curmudgeon becomes a party animal. Don't you see him dancing again at his nephew Fred's party? A wasted, bitter man becomes a humorist. A great scene is near the end. The new guy named Ebenezer, the new humorist, he's waiting for Bob Cratchit to come to work. The day after Christmas, he's 18 minutes late. Well, if you watch different movies of it, he kind of sneaks into his desk and starts working as if he'd been there all along. But Scrooge is watching. He comes over and takes his finger in his side like this. It says Cratchit was about to hit him. what are you doing to me? He said, you're late for work. You're late for work. Of course, he said, I'm so sorry, sir. It won't happen again. You're late for work. And I'm going to give you a pay raise. And I'm going to take care of your family. And I'm going to help Tiny Tim, who needs help for a special doctor. Tiny Tim had braces on the leg and a crutch, probably modern day rickets disease. I'm going to help because you need that kind of help. You see, the new Ebenezer suddenly realized that, wow, I can raise your salary, I can assist your struggling family. And he said, go and buy some more coal because you don't have enough fire in this office. Remember the seed only had one little coal? He couldn't add any more before. And now suddenly he became generous. Charles Dickens' stories, whether in serial form in magazines, or books, or acted out, made him a rock star. He became the most famous man in Great Britain. The Queen herself came to hear him read and act in dramas, and his books still sell today. I want to get an idea from you, the audience. Anybody ever read A Tale of Two Cities in high school? I had a teacher, Stella May Payne, who had pencils in her bun. Made me read it. How many copies has A Tale of Two Cities, one of his 14 novels, sold? Any guess? Somebody guess. How many? That is the right answer. I just read this week. It just did the 200 million mark. Oh, wow. And that's one book of his many. And of course, again, Christmas Carol has never been. There you go. There you go. Yes. All right. But this little book about an old Ebenezer becoming new Ebenezer with the help of ghosts who showed him what his life was really like before. By the way, all through the novel, the little book, novella, I guess you'd call it, you see signs of his change. He keeps thinking about changing, thinking about being a new man. So it doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually as the ghosts take him to places and show him things. But this little book helped England in ways we probably never know. But we do know that A Christmas Carol changed England's attitude towards celebrating Christmas. With Christmas Day becoming a legal holiday finally, with turkeys on the table for Christmas instead of geese, and families gathering for love, laughter, and a true holiday spirit. I was reading also, the first Christmas cards were sent the next year in England. And people say even Christmas trees, although Prince Albert had brought it from Germany, but didn't catch on until Dickens wrote this story. So many ways Christmas for us is because of Charles Dickens and the way that we celebrate. So instead of saying by humbug anymore, I think with Tiny Tim, that little light of a boy with braces and crutches, we can all say the last 5 words. God bless us, everyone. Thank you for your time. Somebody asked me earlier, well, what happened to your British accent? Well, at age 22, I moved to the Commonwealth of Virginia, and to fit in with Americans, I lost my accent. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Thank you for your time. Orange County. Sure.
Yep, perfect. All right, friends, well, I wanted to explain a little bit why this kind gentleman is on his tour of redemption, trying to explain his creator, because apparently he's a little bit of a rapscallion. I encourage any of you to look up the story. which you will find. And apparently he was a boarder. You want to explain yourself?
Let me just say one more thing. If you want to know about me, Septimus Hicks, you have to read Don Juan.
Very good. He met and married a fellow boarder and then dumped her and ran away. So Charles Dickens wrote about real life. Very much. So what you'll see now, if you just retain your seats for a few minutes, we have somebody, our lovely elves are passing out candy canes, our first treat for you today. Obviously, Septimus will be around if you have questions. He lives this life, so he will never not be Septimus while he's here today, just letting you understand that. So anything you choose to ask him, he will answer you as Septimus. And he's very near and dear to our board. You might say he was the father of one of our founders. I don't know. You know, he's got a father. We do have a certain familial relations. So once again, I'm just going to say that we are going to play a couple games. We would very much like to thank you on behalf of the entire board of the Museum of Make-Believe. Certainly grand thanks to Septimus. Thank you so much, Septimus. And grand thanks to our elves. Thank you, elves. And to our live stream, the American landscape back there. Thank you, guys. Our board is relatively small, so I want to say on behalf of Amy and Jeff and myself, thank you. Yeah. And also Mike and Samantha and Kelsey. We very much want to encourage you to always use your imagination in everyday life. It makes things so much better. So please feel free to live your own dreams. And that's what we're here to do today. We have a little game. We're going to introduce my brother Bill. Yay, brother Bill. Who's going to explain the game. And I'll come right up after that and we'll talk about our next two things.
Thanks very much. Does anybody have a candy cane with a ribbon on it? Well, we'd like to give you a little prize here. Anybody else? Wonderful. And it looks like you do too.
Yay! Oh, now what are we going to do? Well, we're going to talk about our next game. So, you see we have a very low bar for participation in our games. Pretty much you show up, we're grateful you show up. Once again, there are some items at the back that can be yours for donation if you care to support the museum and the museum. But right now, we have one of these kind of wonky games, sort of like a little more present than Victorian. You will find, as we invite you also to explore the lovely train exhibit. After that, after you explore, after we play that game, hold on, you're jumping the narrative there, buddy. There's also in the Carnegie, you'll be able to write a letter to Santa, and as you exit, whether you're about to play this next game or not, you will find treats and hot chocolate for you on the table outside. Please, we just ask you to be careful not to spill. But do enjoy walking around the exhibit and having a good time with us. If you have any questions, you can see our elves, you can see Septimus, you can see Bill, you can see me. We're happy to chat with you, and everyone that works for the Muzeo is also more than welcome to answer questions and enjoy this time with us. So right now we're going to go into this century, and we're going to tell you there are two of these postcards hidden within the exhibit. For anybody who wishes to search for those now, if you take a picture of it with your cell phone, bring it back to Bill, we'll have a special gift for you. Other than that, that's our last game. So other than that, we'd like to invite you to enjoy the exhibit and relax and enjoy this holiday with your family. We sure appreciate you being here. Charles Dickens trains, so much of that is really how America celebrates Christmas. So we hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and thank you for coming. This is what the postcard looks like. Go out there.
Two of them.
There's two. The first two of you who find those, come back and show Bill your picture.
Yeah, I live there.
Thank you so much for coming.
It's so fun.
That's my wife and I. Held the ticket in 6 years. We went to school in Richmond. Oh, yeah. Oh, in Richmond. Where'd you go in Richmond? We lived down to good school, Virginia College.
We're going to see if we can get a moment with Septimus, ask him a few questions. Everybody's leaving, going back to see the rest of the exhibits.
You did home.
So you know the honesty development up there? So right off 17 going over
What a donation. Thank you.
Yeah, right off Orange and Road.
Thank you so much. That's wonderful. I'm leaving you right over here. Good job.
Hey, Septimus, can we get a few moments with you?
Yeah, I hope I didn't mess up. I'm moving around so much.
No, you look great.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Thank you for doing
Have a
this.
seat.
My voice is about gone.
Oh, that's all right.
I don't think I can figure it. I've been air conditioning all week. I'm not used to that. I can't open the windows.
Southern
I
California.
can't open the windows in their apartment at all.
Yeah, you got all that stuff. You want to take conditioned air. Have a seat for a
Oh,
second.
okay.
Now, can we turn? Get a seat here for the kitchen. Lower it just a little bit more.
So you want to ask me questions? Or?
Yeah,
By the way, I got several people in Las Cruces are watching today where I live.
Oh, great.
They were so excited it could be online.
So far, we haven't seen a whole lot of activity online,
They're
but
supposed to be. They might watch it later. 'Cause they
yeah,
can
maybe
watch it
they'll
later
watch it later. So
on YouTube.
yes. So don't worry about looking at the camera. So we're sitting here with Septimus Hicks, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's a character from Charles Dickens' books?
Yes, his first book that he wrote was published was called Sketches by Boz. Boz was his nickname. And he wrote everyday stories of everyday people. And one of the first stories was called The Boarding House. It's a ride of a story. All men live there, and then the mother and two daughters. The mother's 50, the daughter's 25 and 22, and it becomes crazy because they all want to get married to each other. And at the end, they kind of do. And Septimus Hicks is one of the characters who only has ever read one book, and that is Don Juan by Lord Byron. Now, Don Juan is like 600 pages long, that poem, in a book form. And he has a quote for every occasion from Don Juan.
So how fortuitous that your last name is actually Hicks.
Yes, that is very, because I do believe that Larry Hicks must be my relative. He must go back to England in some way.
Wow. So now let's maybe go off the man behind the character.
Yes.
And I really do appreciate that you stay in character so well. Would this device next to you have been in your lifetime?
I don't think we had radios, did we?
I don't know when radios
I don't remember
started.
any.
18, late
remember any.
1800s maybe?
But it's interesting today that Kathy mentioned trains.
Yes.
In the train exhibit here. Well, in about 1870, almost 70, 1868 maybe, Dickens was in a train wreck, a very serious train wreck called the Staplehurst train wreck. Many people died, and he had his manuscript of his last book they'd ever finished called A Mutual Friend. And he helped save people's lives, by the way.
Wow.
Then he realized, I left my manuscript. So he ran back literally to a car overhanging to get back his manuscript, A Mutual Friend. So he never had a love affair with trains after that.
Oh yeah, I bet. So again, the man behind the character. So you're Larry Hicks. Got lucky with the last name for
Right.
this particular character. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like a couple Halloweens ago, you actually played Charles Dickens.
I did.
And I have to say, it was the first time I met you. You never broke character that whole time.
Right.
You made comments about my camera and all this
Right.
stuff that wasn't in the time period, which was wonderful. So, where does your love for Charles Dickens come from? You know, what's your background? Were you a teacher? Did you teach Charles Dickens? Or are you just a fan?
You know, I might back up and say I felt uncomfortable doing Charles Dickens because I did not have a British accent. And I tried to say, oh, cheerio, oh, bloody morning, but I never felt comfortable doing it. So when I remembered Septimus Hicks as a character, I said, I can make believe this, imagination, and become him and talk about Charles Dickens. But in high school, I was assigned to read A Tale of Two Cities, as I mentioned in my little talk today. And I don't believe I really read all of it. I think I skimmed it until the end and did a report and got an A. When I retired, I was a clergyman in a Navy chaplain before that.
You know, now that you say that, I knew that, but for the audience.
No problem.
Yeah,
So in 2011, I was in Indiana, a little town of Goshen, and I was asked to do something for Christmas for the Kiwanis Club. So I thought, I'm going to do a Christmas carol. So I did a reading from it. I put various parts together and did a reading, and it was really a good, evening for people. I went to the local theater, little town of Bristol, Opera House, and borrowed an outfit. So the next day I retired to Las Cruces, New Mexico. And I thought, what can I do in retirement besides play golf? I'm going to read Charles Dickens, who I never really read. So I started reading Dickens, and the first book was called Dombey and Son. And I didn't understand something in the book that I was reading, so I Googled, of course, and I came across this thing called the Dickens Universe at the University of California, Santa Cruz. And they were doing Dombey and Son that summer for a whole week.
Wow.
So I enrolled and went, and I've been going to that annually with a new book every week where professors, common people like me who love to read, gather and talk about one book of Dickens. So that really got me going, and now I've read all of his stuff. I'm trying to read all of his magazine articles, 22 years of them. But I think still my favorite, maybe A Christmas Carol.
I think it's a lot of people's favorites, and I want to say thank you again for your service. My dad was also in the Navy during the Korean War. I was, in the Air Force during relative peacetime, the Cold War, though I did see tragedy through that time, even in, what it's like training, even in peacetime is
exactly
not safe. It's
always at risk.
Always at risk.
And thank you for the American landscape. I really like that.
Thank you, appreciate that.
Especially the veterans emphasis.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you've seen the latest one. We'll go a little off subject here, but we just did one in Fresno at the Veterans Memorial Museum.
No, I haven't seen that yet.
And it's also the home of the Legion of Valor.
Wow.
For anybody with a cross level and above.
Wow.
And there was some interesting, amazing stories.
Amazing.
And a lot of it ends up on the editing room floor, as they say, because we have a time limit. But very interesting. If you get up in Fresno, you probably really like it.
Thank you.
So to kind of wrap this up, and I want to say, I was the same way in high school. I passed all my literature tests. This is embarrassing to say now because I love to read. I didn't read The Hobbit. We were supposed to. I watched that really bad animation movie.
Oh, yes, I remember
Got
that.
enough, bullet points to be able to pass the test. But I managed to get most of my information by the lectures and the discussion every week. The Scarlet Letter. Some of these things I need to go back and read.
Oh yes.
They're classics. They need to be read. And I love to read now, but
what amazes me about so many of those classic books, they're so modern. When Dickens speaks to so many modern day problems that we experience, which I'm amazed.
Yeah, I was, when you were talking about all the different iterations of the film, I thought, God, could this be modernized where, some guy working in an Amazon factory or some of these places that are just like go, go, go. It's all about profit,
Well, there was one called Scrooged.
Yes.
Bill Murray. It was kind of like a modern day setting of it.
Yes. Yeah. So, excuse me. So, Larry, thanks for taking a few minutes with us and
you are
letting some people know your background and for doing this. So, is this character mostly your primary character now?
Yes, I've been doing this for about 2 years, I guess, now, and it really makes me feel like I can really talk about Dickens so wonderfully from a character that he created that it's kind of interesting imagination-wise.
Yeah, so in a sense, you don't have to talk about yourself.
Right, exactly.
And be a self-promoter. You can promote someone from a different angle.
Yeah, and Septimus means seventh child or son, and I'm the seventh in my family.
Seriously, so wow.
I am.
It's like all these things fell into
Yes,
place.
exactly.
Divine providence, and it's all working
Except
out.
I didn't chuck my wife.
Well,
kept her.
That's good. Yeah, that's good. All right, thanks again, Larry. We'll let you get back to what you need to do, and we'll wrap up the show here. And I'm sure Jeff and Amy appreciate it. Thank
Oh,
you.
sure. Thank you so much.
All right.
That is funny that he loved Don Juan, but in the epic poem by Byron, he made Don Juan a different kind of character. He made him, all the women used him instead.
You know, it's funny you mentioned Byron, and I'll leave this on for a second. There's a local writer who actually taught at, I think, Chapman, and a lot of his books had to do with time travel. I believe it was Byron. He's from England,
Yes,
is that right?
yes.
So somehow his character figures out time travel. He knows Byron's known to be in this pub at a certain day
Wow.
to write this certain poem or something. Goes to meet him. He never shows up. But while he's there, he doodles this poem that should have been, or thing that should have been written at the time. So when he's back in his own time, he realized it's his penmanship.
Oh, neat.
So in a sense, he was Byron.
Oh, that
it
is
was
pretty
really weird.
cool.
So
That is
there's
really
a lot more
cool.
to the story, and Karen, my wife might remember. He's written a bunch of books. Disney actually purchased the rights to use On Stranger Tides for their pirate movie.
Oh, neat.
Though it had little to do with the book, other than Blackbeard was in it, and there were
Right.
some mermaids. Rest of the story, chucked it out, used the title, which is typical a lot of
Well,
times.
interesting, at the end of the Don Juan, long, 550 pages literally,
It's a long one.
is that he refers to people like Martin Luther and Galileo and people who helped change the world
Really?
in that poem.
Wow.
That he goes into history and brings them out as if they're living almost.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Thank you
very
so
cool.
much.
All right, thank you. All right, so Richard, the cameraman who's not touched the camera today, is right behind us monitoring. And all right, I think I'm going to turn the camera around here, folks, and we're going to wrap this up. There we are. We'll get the trains behind us. Whoops, got to twist it back around this way. Slow, there it goes, panning around. All right, thanks everybody for being here with us in the live stream. The Museum of Make Believe, in conjunction with the American Landscape at the Muzeo in Anaheim, which is a wonderful venue to come see art and all kinds of different displays here. And again, thank you, and Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And now I got to figure out how to end the show without looking like a total rookie here. There we go.
Very cool.